We know that the Buffalo Bills fired Sean McDermott after the Buffalo Bills lost to the Denver Broncos. And the owner of the team, along with the now president, held a press conference, and the Bills owner blasted Sean McDermott's coaching decisions. We got to talk about it because I got some thoughts. Mike McDaniels is now the offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers. I tell you why I like that. And Baker Mayfield sends a message to Kevin Stefanski, the new Atlanta Falcons head coach. Y'all know we're going to talk about it, break it all down right after this.
Welcome to your number one spot for all NFL news and content, NFL Central.
What's going on, NFL fans? Welcome back into another episode of NFL Central, your number one spot for everything NFL. I'm your host here, Bobby, and I'm holding it down on today's daily episode. So if you tuned in, love talking that football talk, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. But hey, we know just not too long ago, the Buffalo Bills went out there and fired now former head coach Sean McDermott, who is with the Buffalo Bills for quite some time now. They fired him and they elected to move on after the Buffalo Bills lost that playoff matchup in the divisional round to the Denver Broncos in a game where, hey, if we breaking down the game, Josh Allen, we can't save you. He was terrible in the game. I don't want to hear none of that. We're not going out there and acting like 4 turnovers in a football game is good for any football team or trying to win any matchups. But now we talk about the Bills owner who went out there and just simply blasted Sean McDermott. It looks crazy right now when we talk about it and you consider everything that is going on right now in Buffalo, especially when Sean McDermott is getting fired and then you have the GM get a promotion as if his roster has been good enough, at least in the last 2 years. If we keeping it real, us as football fans was expecting Josh Allen to go out there and put together a Herculean type of game or type of performance throughout the playoffs to go out there and take advantage because there's no Patrick Mahomes, there's no Joe Burrow, there's no Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. And us as fans, we looked at it like, Josh Allen, you're the best quarterback in the AFC. You should be able to will your team to said victories. And he went out there, he took care of business versus Jacksonville, and he came up short versus the Denver Broncos, but it was all due to his mistakes. But when you look at the owner, he goes out there and he points out and then targets his former head coach, and then you even take shots at players, that's when we have a problem. We got to speak to what is going on operationally behind closed doors with the Buffalo Bills organization. Now, I get it that when you talk about the Buffalo Bills and Terry Bagula and how the Buffalo Bills kept running into different things in each of these last 2 years in the playoffs, there's some validity to that. But it's a way that you should be handling business and going at the head coach. You reportedly went out there and said that, hey, you wasn't pleased with Sean McDermott's assessment of the team when he came to you all and said, hey, I don't think this team is good enough to win a Super Bowl. That's a fair evaluation from the coach. And you as the owner and at the time the GM, you should go out there and understand where he's coming from, because look how your season has been going up until this point, and look how it has panned out for you as an organization over the last few years. And this year specifically, you had no wide receiver number 1. Now, that's when it comes into the question to where myself and my co-host Steve-O was really critical of Keon Coleman and his buffoonery throughout the season, right? So in return of that, and you understanding and have an opportunity to improve the wide receiver position, instead of going to get Waddle out of Miami, you tried the low ball to Miami Dolphins and push back a first-round pick to 2027, and instead went and got Brandon Cooks. So for the owner and Terry Pegula to go out there and criticize Sean McDermott, you got to look in the mirror too, buddy. The decisions that was made by Brandon Beane, they weren't all great moves. He didn't do anything. And there was other options on the table for the Buffalo Bills. However, Brandon Beane did not take advantage of said opportunities, and you as the owner didn't hold his feet to the fire. The owner of the Buffalo Bills went out there and said this about Keon Coleman, which is absolutely crazy. He said the coaching staff pushed to draft Coleman. That was just Brandon Beane being a team player and taking advice of his coaching staff who felt strongly about the player. We just pulled up the tape, buddy. The GM felt strongly about Keon Coleman too. You can't, no. Y'all forgot we get to look inside these draft rooms when y'all evaluating players, huh? And that's just the thing. So when you talk about, like, there's two sides to every single thing. When you talk about Terry Pegula, Buffalo Bills owner, two things can be true. You in the organization has ran into a postseason wall to where you guys can't get over the hump. We're talking about the 13 seconds. We're talking about a number of other things that transpired. We're talking about the loss about the Denver Broncos. But then on the flip side, you got to look at some of the stuff that your guy that you decided to keep has done as well. The team just wasn't good enough. Y'all ran Stephon Diggs out of the building. You did not go and get a number one wide receiver. You did not improve your pass rush or defensive backfield. That comes with personnel changes that are made by Brandon Beane. So while we're trying to go out there and push all the blame to Sean McDermott, which is deserved to some degree, don't sit here and try to back up your GM, now turn president, and act like he has no hand in any of this. It makes absolutely no sense. And then from the outside looking in, when he comes to you, Sean McDermott goes to you, the owner and the GM of the Buffalo Bills, and expresses himself, you shoot it down. It's crazy work. It's crazy work. Then you looking at them and you're saying that I had to do it based off that game. So based off one game, the Buffalo Bills owner got rid of Sean McDermott, who has been successful with the Buffalo Bills for the last 7 years, has more playoff wins than just about everybody in the AFC, outside of a couple teams. Makes no sense. Makes no sense. And I'm not going out here and beating the drum and saying that Sean McDermott did not deserve to get fired. Sometime when you keep going through the same thing, getting the same results, that's insanity. You got to do something different. So I understand it. But then on the flip side, don't go out there and kill the man because he came up short along with the guy you just promoted. The guy you just promoted. It makes absolutely no sense. And we cannot sit here and act like sometimes you take chances on young players, and sometimes they pan out, and sometimes they do dumb shit. That's Keon Coleman. That's just how the process works. That's just how the process is. You're taking a chance on somebody to come in and help your organization. Some guys rise up to the pressure. Some guys fold to the pressure. That happens every single year. It happens every single year. And that's the crazy thing. That's the crazy thing about all this going on with the Buffalo Bills right now. Keon Coleman is still on your team and you go to the national media and criticize the young player that is still on your team. That is absolutely ridiculous. That is so stupid on the hands of the Bills owner and now president Brandon Beane. It's so stupid. What do you think? How do you think that's going to affect the other players that's in that locker room? How do you think that's going to affect coaches who may be interested in becoming a Buffalo Bills coach? Now that you just went public with some of the criticisms to Sean McDermott and 2 current players on the team, and now you're trying to double back and put Brian Daboll's hat into the damn coaching decisions too now? Into the interview bucket, you want to add Brian Daboll? I'm not saying Brian Daboll is a bad coach, but he ain't got a good track record either. Did we somehow forget in the game versus the Chicago Bears in the fourth quarter when he could have went for 2, he went for 1 and gave the game straight to the Chicago Bears? We forgot that? That's just one example of the dumbassery that he was doing. Come on, man. Come on. That is absolutely ridiculous to me. I'm not saying that the Buffalo Bills should not have gotten rid of Sean McDermott. I'm just saying it's a way that you handle business in the NFL to make sure that for the next guy that comes in, he has a good platform to start on. Now, the next guy that comes in, guys are going to be looking at him sideways, especially if you go get a Brian Daboll. And then there's another guy who was previously on a team. I can't remember the backup quarterback name right now. Excuse me. But it's Josh Allen's best friend. Y'all talking about bringing him as a coach too? What are we doing? What are we doing? It's going to be a tough job for them. I think they still going to be solid because Josh Allen, he going to be able to lead some guys, but it's going to have to be a lot of repair work it's going to be a lot of repair taking place over the offseason in Buffalo. I'm telling you that right now. You openly criticize one of the players on your team to the public. And then go out there and kill the former head coach who brought you some of the most success you had in a long time. Crazy work. But I'll move on, y'all. Now we're going to talk about Mike McDaniel. And on the last note, y'all let me know how y'all feeling about that too, bro. Y'all let me know how y'all feeling about this, the owner going out there and just heavily criticizing the former head coach and a player on his team. Absolutely ridiculous. Let me know how y'all feel. But hey, now let's move on to talk about Mike McDaniel, who is now the offensive coordinator for the Chargers. And I'll say this. The Los Angeles Chargers signing Mike McDaniel, that is a hell of a pickup for Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh. I think that Mike McDaniel, he went through his struggles in Miami over this last season, did not end great, but you've seen a difference in a coach that understood that he had to adapt in a way to where he can affect his football team. He understood what he had at a quarterback and what he had available to him to adjust his system to a different style of a run game. And that is why I'm excited for the Los Angeles Chargers next season, because I think that Mike McDaniel is going to bring that creative offensive play calling that Greg Roman lacks. Let's just keep it real. Mike McDaniel and Greg Roman can't even sit in the same room as each other when it comes to creativity and creating for others on the football team. And you know Jim Harbaugh is going to be great for Mike McDaniel because he wants to run the ball. He wants to utilize that creative stuff, and it should be able to help because they're going to get offensive linemen back. Now, they do need to go out there and get a legit number 1 wide receiver, in my personal opinion, but you have some good bones to work with because the defense is good. They're going to play hard-nosed football. Jim Harbaugh is going to run the show. And Mike McDaniel, you can just focus on offense and play calling. And yeah, I think he's going to do a hell of a job with that. I think that when you go out there and get a guy like Mike McDaniel and you pair him with Jim Harbaugh, who wants to run the ball, who wants to utilize motion and shifts, that plays right into the hand of Mike McDaniels. And the greatest thing of them all for Mike McDaniel, he no longer has to deal with a limited quarterback like Tua Tagovailoa. Justin Herbert has his issues, but he is way better than Tua Tagovailoa. Gives you a lot more that you can do, give you a lot more options in the pass game, and everything that you want to do as an offense. I'm happy for Mike McDaniel. I'm happy for him, 100%. Now, before we get up out of here, let's talk about Baker Mayfield's message to Kevin Stefanski. He came with some fire. I ain't gonna lie to you now. So that was an Atlanta reporter that reported on the Atlanta Falcons signing Kevin Stefanski, which is a good hire for them. I think that's solid. I think he has 2 quarterbacks they can work with. He got some offensive weapons that he can work with, and he should be good to go. And the defense has bones that you can work with if you're Kevin Stefanski. But there was a report out there that mentioned that Kevin Stefanski came from a dumpster fire in Cleveland with Mayfield and Deshaun Watson having failed. Baker Mayfield said, I ain't having none of that. He said, failed is quite the reach, pal. He said, still waiting on a text or call from him after I got shipped off like a piece of garbage. Can't wait to see you twice a year, coach. End quote. Hey, Baker Mayfield, I ain't going to lie to you, buddy. You got to put it on wax. I don't want to hear nothing. But I love it. I love it. I love to talk that talk, especially when you got some. Look, man, this is what rivalries are made of. These are what rivalries are made of. Everybody want this patty cake shit. This is the NFL. We don't want no cupcake stuff going on. We want the coaches chirping at each other, just like we witnessed Ben Johnson and Matt LaFleur going at it all season long, because the matchups mean that much more to the coaches and the players, and the fans get to talk their stuff. And now we got Baker Mayfield putting it on wax versus Kevin Stefanski as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer telling the Atlanta Falcons, y'all better come ready to play because I'm coming ready to play. I love it. I love it. I'm enough of that soft kiki ha let's buddy shit in sports, man. Let's bring back the real competition. Ain't nobody saying you gotta go out there and try to beat somebody up and fight and take it beyond the bounds of the lines or on the field or the court, whatever it is. But let's embrace that rivalry though, bro. Let's embrace that rivalry in football. This is why football is the greatest sport in the world. Come on now. Let's see that rivalry. Now I'm anxious to see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play the Atlanta Falcons twice a year. And I know y'all ready to see the Chicago Bears face the Green Bay Packers now that everybody's on an even plane and Ben Johnson talking that shit. I know y'all ready to see it. So let's see it, man. Let's see it. But I will say this. Baker Mayfield, don't send no warning shots and you show up with blanks. That's all I'm going to say. Because if you're going to go out there and make a threat and say, Kevin Stefanski, I can't wait to see you twice a year. This year, coming up, after we get through the Super Bowl in the 2026-27 season, next season, Baker Mayfield, hey, don't show up with no blanks, bro. When it's time to go play Kevin Stefanski in that Bucs versus the Falcons matchup, don't bring no blanks, bro. I'm telling you. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because you know that's going to fuel these guys now. And I'm right here excited to see it, man. Y'all see how excited we get for competition? Good, healthy hate. Good, healthy hate. Can hate be healthy? Sometimes it could be, depending on how you use it. Anger is good, depending on how you use it. I ain't saying to go out there and hurt nobody. But if you showing up to a boxing match, if you saying that somebody somebody say you can't do nothing and you proven wrong, use that hate, use that anger productively. It ain't got to be negative. Use it to fuel your fire to become better. That's all I'm saying. Use it to fuel your fire to become better. Don't go out there doing nothing crazy though. You know what I'm saying? Keep it within the lines and go get them dubs. That's all I'm saying. But hey, that is it for me today, y'all. I appreciate y'all today for tuning in to another episode. I hope y'all enjoyed the show just as much as I did. If you did so, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, man. We appreciate y'all. Make sure you always love football, man. We only got so many more weeks left of actual football, and then the offseason stuff kick off. And y'all know we're going to be right here, covering it all, man. Peace. I'm out of here. Appreciate y'all, man. Peace.
This has been a presentation